Show. Here is your host, Rob Blackman.
And hi, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to the Matt Painter Show, and welcome to the new year, 2023. I know it's January the 9th. We're a couple days into the new year, certainly, and then some. But it's the first time we've had a chance to speak with you on the Matt Painter Radio Show since we've turned the calendar to 2023. So Happy New Year to you, and thank you so much for joining us here on this Monday night. We are at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, as we have been all season. Walk-Ons a great place for you to come out and check out the show, watch it live, and if you're in town for a game, why don't you stop by Walk-Ons before the game to pick you up something to eat before you head on over to Mackey Arena. Great place to be and a great supporter of Purdue basketball. We do have a lot to talk about tonight with Coach Painter, and we have a very short amount of time to do it. So if you'd like to join us on the show, you can call us at 1-888-246-2678, 1-888-246-2678. We don't have time to talk about all the games that have come and gone since we last visited with you on the Coaches Show back in mid-December, but we should have time to visit about what has been certainly the most important three games that Purdue has played since we've last spoken, and that, of course, was the three-game stretch that Purdue has just finished, all three Big Ten games, the one-point loss at home to Rutgers, and then the back-to-back road wins at Ohio State, and the win then at Palestra. I said it fine last night on the broadcast, I can promise you, at the Palestra last night in Philadelphia. So we'll talk about those two wins. And we'll look ahead to what's also going to be yet another difficult week for Purdue, as it always is in the Big Ten. Coming up this week for Purdue, a Friday night home game with Nebraska, and then a Monday afternoon road game at Michigan State. So lots to talk about tonight on the Coaches Show. We thank you for joining us. Coach Painter joins me when we come back. This is the Matt Painter Show, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network, and this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
He left his feet for the shot fake, but stayed in the play and still managed to get a good contest on Dredd. Down inside, Caleb First now against Dredd on the other end. Great spin move and a slam. Caleb First loves his left jump hook, and you can see Dredd just overplaying that hand and spin baseline. Lawyer, step back three, and he hits it. A good start to the second half for Purdue. He had a big-time second half in Columbus on Thursday. That's a masterclass for a side out-of-bounds play with 1 second on the clock. Micah Shrewsbury's good at a lot of things, but they say him drawing up out-of-bounds plays is really some of his bread and butter. Caleb First from long range. They have struggled from long range on the season, just over 31%. Regarding them, if Purdue is shooting like they did at Ohio State, it's going to be terrifying. And Fletcher Ward, wow. He now has 8, the freshman from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Whoa, Lundy a little ambitious against Sakiti. Knocked out of bounds. Is getting put on the glass. Ethan Morton, by the way, Pennsylvania Mr. Basketball a few years ago, but he played over in Pittsburgh's area as they go up top to Zaki. Here's the ball screen. Funk's got to be in early. Instead, he's in late. Then he's in with Edey. Now he's out because the shooter is there. Now he's got 20, Jalen Pickett. Penn State is so small right now. Hello. There it is again. Braden Smith to Zach Edey. He's on the bench right now. Matt Painter just trying to sneak him a little breather before that under 8 media timeout. Gillis in traffic. Got his own miss. Count and the foul. A weight room bucket for the 230-pound redshirt junior. On the dribble drive, the first one not there. But getting to the offensive glass like Purdue does. And Mason Gillis.
Radio Show presented by GEMCO. Live tonight at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union. Walk-Ons where it's always game day with a taste of Louisiana. I'm Rob Blackman hosting with a head coach, Matt Painter, alongside. Thank you so much for joining us on a Monday night. A quick programming note before we visit with Coach Painter. Next week's show will be Tuesday night of next week's at 6 o'clock because Purdue is actually playing an afternoon game next Monday, MLK Day, in East Lansing against Michigan State. It's a 2:30 game next Monday afternoon. And while we could get home pretty quickly from East Lansing, I don't think we could get home quickly enough to do the coaches show at 6. So we'll move the show to Tuesday of next week. Matt Painter is alongside, and Coach, I said it in the opening monologue, a difficult stretch of Big Ten games that your team has just completed. 3 games in the course of a week, 2 of them on the road. Yet you come out of it 2-1. Your overall thoughts on that 3-game stretch, which was a difficult one?
Yeah, no question. Obviously, we had a really bad half, the first half against Rutgers, and we're able to fight our way back into that game and take the lead late and then lose, at the very end. We got off to a rough start. The start of the Ohio State game, I thought we really fought back. Obviously, we found our shooting touch from 3, and that really helped us after going 0 for 7 to start the game from 3. We've really shot the ball well since then from 3, second half of Ohio State into the first half. And then obviously the game against Penn State, it's not something where we've made, 15, 16, 17 in a game, but it's given us some consistency in being able to play inside, outside, playing some through some ball screens and some different actions, to really help us. But I thought our guys made a lot of necessary plays down the stretch at Ohio State, which was great to see, because obviously we were in a position we were down at one time, and we got a steal when we trapped in the corner. And then Fletch obviously made a huge shot in that game. He made a huge shot in the Rutgers game also, and played very, very well, for us in the second half at Ohio State after having a tough first half. And then I thought we had some breakdowns in the first half against Penn State, but, they bank in a 3. They shoot 2 scoop shots.
Yes.
Jalen Pickett hits 2 step-back threes, which he's really talented and he can hit some tough shots. But I thought they had just made some really tough shots. I thought Zach had a couple shots at the rim. We had a couple wide-open shots on the perimeter against them that didn't go down for us, even though they could probably, from their perspective, say the same thing with a couple open looks that they missed, especially from Lundy in the first half. But I thought the second half was our best half of basketball all season. Definitely the best 10 minutes to start the second half. We really put them in a bind. Fletch started it off with a really tough shot to start the half, and he made it. And then after a good mix of either lob passes from Braden, Fletch had a really good drive. We made a couple open shots. We generated some offense from our defense. But we were getting stops. Obviously, when you go on a 12-0 run to start the half and you're down 6, you got to get some defensive stops in there to be able to go on runs like that, and we were able to do that. I thought Ethan's defense was really good. A couple of those plays with Pickett were veering off and switching, and when he gets deep with guards right there, he just kills them, and it's really hard. And then we veer off with Zach, and he's smart enough to back Zach out and then try to take him. But he's a really, really tough cover. But I thought Ethan did a fabulous job, on him. So, sure, as a coach, you're pleased. You're also, you're no different than a fan when you're a coach. You're greedy, and you want to win them all. And so obviously that you can't win them all, but you sure would like to win them all. So when you say, hey, going into a 3-game series like we just had, if you want to look at it that way, you say, are you happy? Well, no, you want to win all 3 games, but after you win the first, you're sure as hell happy that you're 2-1.
Right.
And so I think that's the piece to kind of keep with it, that you're going to fall down at times, and what kind of resiliency does your team have? And I think our team showed some toughness. They showed some grit, and obviously showed some poise. I thought we executed really well that last play at Ohio State. Ohio State, went to double him, and then Fletch is wide open and knocks that shot down. I thought Zach made 2 really good passes out of the post in the last 2 possessions of the Rutgers game. Braden got it one time and whipped it to Fletch, and he knocked it down. And then we moved it, I think, the next time, and Brandon had a really good shot that just by an eyelash didn't go in. And so I'm very process-based. I think a lot of people get results-based and say you win, you lose, like you go at the end. But if you just do the right things and you stick with it, sometimes it doesn't go your way, and stay with it. But I thought Brandon's shot was a really good shot, and if we got it again in the same situation, I'd be cool with it, because I think he can make that shot, and I think it's good. And a lot of people always will look at it and then they dissect it and say, hey, you should have done this, you should have done that. Well, it's the right of first refusal when you deal with your best player. And so, like Zach Edey got the ball, they took it away from him. You pass it, you move it, you get a good one, and we were able to do that and get good shots. The worst thing in those situations is if you come up empty and you don't get a shot. Like those that you get in those critical ones, and like all of a sudden you just turn the ball over. Like those, that's devastating. That's, as a coach, you really work in those situations to make sure that guys are poised and they understand you got to take what the defense gives you because you're up against it a little bit. You know, you pass up on something pretty good, and then all of a sudden you don't get something as good. Those are the ones, you know, now when you go a little bit earlier, especially when you're down, you give yourself a chance to rebound. But if you don't get the rebound, you give yourself a chance to foul, and you're not, you know, you're buying some time in there also. You know, it's the old John Wooden saying, you know, be quick but don't hurry. It just, you know, you have to have a mature pulse in those times. And I thought our guys in the Rutgers game late did it. Offensively, we made a mistake defensively against what we talked about in the huddle, and hopefully we've learned from that. And then I thought they really, you know, showed some poise in the end of the Ohio State game, but also at halftime of the Rutgers game. Like, we're down 6, and I thought we were in a great position because of what it kind of unfolded. They'd made some tough ones. I thought we were going to get what we wanted. We'd got into some pick-and-roll stuff, and Braden had really got to him. We've really tried to emphasize to Braden that he needs to shoot the basketball.
Yeah.
And, you know, coming off those pick-and-rolls, if they're going to stay deep, you know, take that pull-up. Take that pull-up 3, take that pull-up 15-footer. He's proven he can pass. He's proven he can get to the rim. He's proven he can hit a standstill 3. But if you go and watch him in high school, I mean, he'll pull up from the volleyball line. You know, for people that don't watch high school basketball, they have a volleyball line, and that's what cuts off. A lot of high school coaches use the volleyball line as an indicator where they want their players to be and stuff on the court. But it's still at about 27 feet.
Yeah.
And Braden would pull up from the volleyball line, hit 3s, I mean, consistently. And so, like, when he's got it going or he's got space, you know, I really encourage him to look for a shot and be aggressive, because once they start to worry about him scoring, his passing is going to be even better than it is now.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll go to the phone lines for the first time tonight. Again, the number is 1-888-246-2678. If you would like to visit with Coach Painter on the Matt Painter Show, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network, this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Now Foyer, whose brother used to play at Michigan State, now at Davidson, inside that one. Whoa, what a squeeze in by Ethan Morton. Now Smith inside, there's a big fella, turn and jam.
And Zed Key backed away immediately and grabbed his shoulder.
Smith, the kick, Morton rising fire, and it rims off the rebound. And the stick back.
New Boilermaker, but there are some positives. Zach Edey able to set the screen, get down low, get inside of his defender for another offensive rebound.
Now Thornton almost had his pocket pick, and he does. Smith, great hands, gets it back, rises, and buries it. 41-38. Here's Edey, double team, jump hook, right hand goes down.
At about 15 feet where he can knock in that jump shot.
Young man from Honolulu, Hawaii, nice catch. Edey inside, left hand off the glass and in. First, quick turn, kicks it out, Jenkins. Oh! Big time jump shot. Lawyer, Edey draws a double, Lawyer a 3.
Relocated to Fletcher Lawyer right there. That's an easy out and open shot for the young freshman. A big shot for his freshman year, but confident. And that's 4 assists for Zach Edey.
GEMCO Constructors is supporting your Boilermakers as the presenting sponsor of the Matt Painter Show. They're a proud partner of Boilermaker Athletics. GEMCO Constructors says boiler up. Rob Blackman here with Coach Painter. One quick announcement before we move along. It just came down about 30 minutes or so ago. Zach Edey named the Big Ten Player of the Week yet again, 4th time this season. Zach has been named the Big Ten Player of the Week. 21 points, 11.5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks per game roughly over the last week for Zach. So congratulations, as he is a Big Ten Player of the Week for the 4th time already this year. Okay, let's go to the phones. Drew in Raleigh, you will lead us off here on this Monday night. Drew, welcome to the show.
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Despite the home loss, which I know always hurts a bit more, just congrats to you and the staff and the players on another awesome week with really, really good competition. I just had two quick questions for you. Since your last show, Ryan Walters was hired as the head football coach. Today I heard you say to John Rothstein that, in essence, being the head coach is a burden because the losses weigh so heavy on you. So you were obviously a head coach before coming to Purdue, and I know it's a different sport, but I was curious what advice, if any, you had for him as he gets hired at a similar age to you, and also what words of wisdom you received from mentors when you became a head coach in the Big Ten that kind of still stick with you today. And then just the other question I had was, I thought you put it really well after the Ohio State game, that the best player not necessarily needing to take the last shot of the game, but needing to make the best decision.
Yeah.
It's clear Zach's not only the best player, but on our team, but maybe in the country. Coaches talk all the time about, wanting to play a game on their terms, and how that's so important. So I'm just curious, when teams are double, triple, sometimes looks like they're quadruple teaming him, what sort of things do you guys want to do from a scheme standpoint to keep him involved, whether it's shots or just touches? I'm just kind of curious to regain the flow of the game. What are you guys kind of trying to do, whether it's high pick and rolls or just getting decoys in there? Just curious on those two things.
Well, there's a lot of
–
there's a good questions. There's a lot of things. I want to answer the last one first. Then you're going to have to help me and probably say the first one over again to me.
I'll help you.
Thank you. A lot of times they don't like to – you can go and anchor him. Okay, I'll start there. You can go and anchor him and just run him to the rim. You see what we do a lot in transition, which is very simple, right? We set a high ball. We get the other guy out of the way. I call it clear in the middle. And then we set a ball screen with him. So if they want to get aggressive and come out on a high hedge, he's going to the rim while they're going up. And now you've become detached from him. And, he's such a huge individual that once he gets to that rim, that help that comes in. Normally the guy that's guarding him isn't as big as him, but the people that don't guard him are nowhere close to being as big as him. So now they've gotten detached from him. And so when they do that and you drive that basketball, now you got to move it, and then he can find them instead of them coming to him. So what we work on a lot is hard dives and then Zach finding their body. So they're not coming to him, he's going to them, which – you're going to have a little bit of a collision there. So a lot of those ball screens, we're looking at him on the dive. You'll see Braden. Some people just take him away. And when they take him away, you see Braden make that cross-court pass a lot. That's why we got to start making more shots, because Braden sets that guy up a lot. And we haven't really, even though we made a couple in the last game, we haven't really benefited from it. We've missed a lot of those that are just kind of wide-open shots. So we got to make those. So what you do in that situation is you pull that defender in because Zach's there. Well, if they don't pull and give him a lot of attention, Braden just throws that up to the sky. And then like you saw in the last game, he gets 4 or 5 just layup dunks because that's tough to deal with. But you got to get that guy to stop you. So in basketball, I call it 5X or X5, however you want to look at it. That's just the center who's the defender. So 5X is you got to get him in the mix. You got to get him stopping you. Then once you stop him, if you can't get that lob, you got that cross-court pass or you got the guy behind you. Now when you throw back, are they there on the catch? If they're not there on the catch, those guys normally have a rhythm outside shot that's open that you step into. If they are there on the catch, you have that pass a lot of times to Zach. Now it's really a lost art being able to post feed. 30 years ago, everybody could post feed because you played inside-outside basketball. Well, we still do. So working with guys on being able to make that shot and also make that decision is really important. So when you get to post-up basketball and the ball goes inside, what you do, we will mix some things up at the end of what we do when the ball goes in on particular plays. That's a call. But for the most part, I like to dive the second biggest guy on the floor because if they double, he shoots it. Now, if that ball misses, it goes weak side more than it goes the other way. It will skip kind of diagonally towards the nail, or it'll come back the same way. But 2/3 of the time, it's probably going weak side. So now while they double, if you double Zach with a small guy, he just holds the ball. He just holds it over their head, and he waits and makes that decision. You guys have seen that a lot. A lot of people want to come with size because those little dudes don't bother him. So now you come with size. Now a guard is at the rim defending that other big guy. And so if you miss it, you have the best chance to get that rebound because you have someone like Caleb First on the weak side, and now you have a guard boxing him out. So you try that dive, and you want your big-to-big pass. You want to look for that. that will pull in from a guard. We will hold ball side with certain teams. It depends what they do, or we cut somebody through. When we cut somebody through, you got to go through the elbow to the rim to the outside corner, and you got to do that. You got to be in the right place and do the right thing. If they come in double and you're up top when they cut through, you got to come smoking to that ball side. You got to come on. Even when they take it away, it opens up a lot of space for that next pass where the next guy's then got to replace him and come to the top of the key. No different than a merry-go-round. So when we get it all the way around and you're not open, you got to drive that ball because they're in a closeout. If not, we'll try to post like Caleb, or we'll try to post Trey at that time. If it's somebody different like Mason or Ethan Morton diving, we'll cross-screen that a lot because they're not post-up guys, okay? And then we'll bring him back, and then we'll play. But we get a lot of action off of that post-up stuff and take it away. The people that have had success against us has really just been us missing open shots. So you can call that success if you want. But it's really been us, not being able to handle just stepping in and knocking down a shot, which nobody's trying to miss a shot, and all the people we have shooting threes are capable of making them. So we do ball screen stuff with him. We do, post-up stuff with him. So schematically, that's kind of a nutshell. I could go on forever talking about it, but I'll just kind of leave it at that. And what was the first question?
The fact that Ryan Walters gets his first head coaching job at an age similar for you, mid-30s, advice you may have for him, and mentors you may have had. Yeah, not really advice. Obviously, if he wasn't capable of doing the job, he wouldn't be here. You're capable. Just be sure of yourself, but also keep your eyes and your ears open and realize there's always things to learn. I mean, always things to learn. How you deal with the media, how you recruit, how you coach. Like, you see things as you get along that shapes what you believe in. It's your convictions of how to play the game. It's your convictions how to treat people. It's your convictions how to just handle yourself, as a person, as a coach, as a father, as, on down the line. Like, you're constantly learning. And I think that's that's the main thing is just, you learn from your experiences. Now you become a head coach, but you really got, a base where, like, this is how I want to play. Obviously, he was a defensive coordinator before, so, like, he is very confident and set in what he believes and stay with that and don't get off of that, especially playing in the same league that he just came from. He's coming with the wealth of knowledge, even though he's a young guy. And then just get as many good people as you can around you. Like, that's more important than anything. People that you can trust, people that are loyal, people that are hardworking, and people that are about Purdue. And that's – you can't have enough, even if, like, sometimes schematically you don't have the perfect – you can get the most brilliant assistant coach in any sport, but if they don't have those qualities, why would you want them? Who cares if they have the greatest offensive mind in the world? Like, you represent an institution. You represent more than yourself. Like, that's the one thing when you got to make a decision, especially when you get in a position like he's in, you represent more than yourself. You represent your own family, but you represent your school. Dan Ross gave me the best advice before I ever coached a game here, our swim coach that's been here for a very, very long time. And I always use this. I always talk about this at clinics. When you're the head coach at Purdue in football or in basketball or in any sport, you're a lot bigger than you think you are and you're a lot smaller than you think you are. Mm-hmm. And don't ever forget either one of those things. More in 2 minutes with Coach Painter. It's the Matt Painter Show presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network. This is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
Plays pick and roll. He's making threes. He can post anybody on the floor. He's just a big-time player. Edie, just patting his stats right there. Oh, my goodness. That's the Nerf hoop.
They're on the road. Purdue trails Penn State at the half despite 14-8 from the Big.
Lundy driving inside. Edie says, I don't think so. The other way, Brayton Smith. Penn State up a half dozen. Smith inside, great pass, and Edie knows what to do with it. Seth Lundy has got to be in. He now has 8, the freshman from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Whoa, Lundy a little ambitious against Zach Edey. Knocked out of bounds. Is getting put on the glass. Ethan Morton, by the way, Pennsylvania Mr. Basketball a few years ago, but he played over in Pittsburgh's area as they go up top to Zach. Here's the ball screen. Funk's got to be in early. Instead, he's in late. Then he's in with Edey. Now he's out because the shooter is there. That's just a mental mistake throwing that pass. Edey collects. Edey silences the crowd. Now he's got 20, Jalen Pickett. Penn State is so small right now. Hello. There it is again. Braden Smith to Zach Edey. Edey. Oh, Trent got handed the cookie jar there. Shot clock at 3. And a 3 drops down for number 2, Fletcher Loyer. Penn State looking for one last gasp here. Edey wants the ball. He gets it. And he feeds it to Caleb First. Easy game. Finding his format. Doing everything. A couple of assists to go along with 13 points and 13 rebounds and now 3 blocks.
Welcome back to the Matt Painter Show, presented by GEMCO, live tonight at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union. Everyone needs a little playing time, so before a Purdue basketball game or any time throughout the week, stop by Walk-Ons here in the Purdue Memorial Union, where it's always game day with a taste of Louisiana. Purdue Global is Purdue's accredited and affordable online solution for working adults. Persistence pays off at Purdue Global. And with that, it's time now for our Pro Boilers feature, where we take a look at how a former Purdue student-athlete is doing in their professional sports career. Pro Boilers is presented by Indiana Kitchen Premium Products. Get to know us at indianakitchen.com. Both our Pro Boilers and Indiana Kitchen are boiler-made. And tonight it's a tip of the cap to quarterback David Blau. Boy, what an end of the NFL season for David. Signed by the Arizona Cardinals as an emergency backup 4 weeks ago, and he ended up starting the last 2 games of the year for the Cardinals. Started in yesterday's game against the 49ers. He also was the starting quarterback 2 weeks ago against the Falcons. So David Blau, in his final 2 games of the season as the starter for Arizona, 38 of 58, 402 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Not bad for a guy who was brought in as an emergency backup with a month to go in the season. When we come back, Dale from Indy will join us here on the phone lines. It's the Coach Painter Show, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network, and this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Our Boilermakers have always been what unite us. To this hallowed field, we return each fall to be a part of something special. We've seen legends born and moments etched in time.
Wide open! Got it! Touchdown Purdue! Seth Morales! Holy Toledo! Thomas steps away, Coleman fumble! They've got it! Beasley rushes free for the Purdue touchdown!
It's pandemonium, Coach! Open year!
Hope we have a whole lot more of these. It's a great win for Purdue.
For nearly a century, Ross-Ade Stadium has been the home of Purdue football. As we forge ahead, we have a rare opportunity to fortify the legacy of future generations of faithful Boilermakers. Together, we will guarantee the passion you have for the old gold and black will endure for years to come.
Let the carnage and the chaos continue. How about the Boilers?
Boiler up, friends. The time is now.
Good morning, Mr. Babinski.
Oh, Babinski. That's fun to say. Babinski. 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 Purdue basketball. What's your favorite color?
Purdue basketball. Coach Painter speaking.
FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Welcome back to Walk-Ons for the Matt Painter Show on this Monday night. GEMCO Constructors is supporting your Boilermakers as the presenting sponsor of the Matt Painter Show. They're a proud partner of Purdue Athletics. GEMCO Constructors Boiler Up. This reminder, we will not be here next Monday night. That's because we'll be in East Lansing. Purdue basketball, 2:30 on Monday. Special Martin Luther King Jr. Day game. Next Monday, 2:30 at Michigan State. So the coaches show will actually be next Tuesday night at 6 right back here at Walk-Ons. All right, let's go back to the phones. Dale in Indianapolis is joining us next. Dale, welcome. You're on with the coach.
Hey, Coach. Congratulations on a fabulous season to date. I really liked what you said about coaching and being a head coach, you can continue to learn. Because when you came to Purdue as a young guy, you were clearly a very good coach. Along the way, you've become a great coach, and at this point, I mean, there's no question you're an elite college basketball coach. So we are just really proud and thrilled to have you leading our program. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
My question is, can you explain to somebody like me what it takes to be a true freshman point guard in Big Ten at Purdue, learn your offense, learn the defense, and do it as seamlessly as Braden has seemed to do it this year? He has just been just an eye-opening guy for me. I mean, I think he's just fantastic. So if you could explain a little bit of that, I'll hang up and listen, and congratulations again.
Well, I think with Braden, it's definitely more him than us. Like, he came with those intangibles. He came with that competitiveness, that toughness, that will to win. One of the things that he has done better than anybody I've been around, when something goes wrong, he owns it real quick. He takes the ownership of failure. And that's what keeps things moving along, is when you have people. You have to do that as a head coach too, because a lot of times your natural, reaction to things is just like, do what the heck we say, like do what you're supposed to do, when there's times that they are trying to do what you're asking them to do. They might not get the job done. I always try to keep an open mind to that. If they're trying to do what we're saying and they're just not completing the deal, but their effort is there to do it and their intent is to do it the way that you've asked them to do it, then, stay with it and just keep working. And you're going to have some failure. No, there's no team or no individual player, no coach that hasn't been, had to go through failure. Even the best teams in the country, like you're going to have some failure. You're going to have some things. How do you go about that? How do you learn from that? But Braden has a very good feel for the game. He has very good instincts. Offensively, he has to take in that people are going to defend things differently. Like, he had a lot of lobs in the game, a lot of passes to Zach Divin. That hasn't been there a lot. It just hasn't. People really take his dives out, and then you get those passes out, which Braden is great at passing out too. So you have to just, from game to game, make sure you know that here's what they're probably going to do. And so now gauge it this way when you watch film, but they can go into that game and they can change. A lot of people won't change. They normally kind of get set on something and they stay the same, but it does happen. And, Braden just got really, really good instincts. The things that I've tried to get him to do, which he did in high school a lot because he had to score for his team. He passed for his team. But there was games that he didn't shoot a lot in high school, just like here, because he got people involved. He had a kid that went to Eastern Illinois that could really shoot the basketball that was with him. And, just getting him to come off those ball screens and look for that pull-up three, look for his pull-up. He gets to the rim, he passes, he reads, things really well. And but then defensively, just get him to be more disciplined. He has really good instincts. He has a really good feel. He can play passing lanes. He can pick your pocket. But you can't do those things. You play a passing lane 2, 3, 4 times in a game. You try to pick somebody's pocket 0 to 2 times a game. He got the guy at Ohio State twice, really, stole the ball from him twice with really good plays. But you can't be in gamble mode all the time. You got to be solid. You got to do your job. You got to be solid. I always call it, when you see blood in the water, get aggressive. When you see that, when they show weakness, or there's blood in the water there, they've turned their back, they've lost their dribble, they've telegraphed a pass, now you can get aggressive with things, and that's when he's got to pounce on things. He likes to get more aggressive in those times because he has such good instincts, but wait for them to make the mistake and then use those instincts. Don't just have a predetermined thought. Don't have a predetermined thought in ball screen action. Don't have a predetermined thought in anything we do. Know what's probably going to happen, but read the situation, trust your instincts. He's got great instincts. I had another college coach call him a basketball savant when I was trying to figure out whether we were going to offer him or not. And so I said, well, I know what a basketball savant is. That's a big statement. You know, Pete Maravich is a basketball savant. Chris Paul is a basketball savant. Like guys that are wizards with the basketball, guys that have a sixth sense. Larry Bird is a basketball savant. So like you have to understand I was like, man, that's an awful big statement for a 17-year-old or whatever. Then the more I watch and the more I talk to people and whatever, he does have a lot of that. You see, like you guys are really doing some good things with him. You're like, well, I think his high school coach and his dad and his mom did really good things with him. Like we're just getting the fruits of their labor. And so, like, we try to get him into what we're doing. But we're also, just like he's learning our system and what we do, we also have to adapt and adjust and get him and learn from him, too, and get him in more actions that's suitable for us. Because the more he's aggressive and the more he's, like, looking for people and passing, that's good for everybody. You know, he makes everybody better. I always would say that about, like, really talented – I've had some really talented guys that help Purdue win games, but did they really make people better? Like Rob Hummel could get 6 points for us, and he helped out everybody on the court. You know, Braden can get 6 points for us, and he helps out everybody on the court. And that's what you need. You know, you need those people. I call them multipliers. You know, you need those multipliers. They're more than one good player because they do all the little things. They're selfless. A lot of great players that are that way, they have a lot of the same intangibles, and those are the intangibles you want. You want good teammates. You want selflessness. You know, you want competitiveness. All those things put winning at a high value, and that's what he's about. The things that he touches, you know, if you watch him a lot, you appreciate him. If you watch him a little bit, you don't pick up on some of the nuances and the little things that he does that affect the game.
This is the Matt Painter Show presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network. We'll take a break. This is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
He left his feet for the shot fake, but stayed in the play and still managed to get a good contest on Dredd. Down inside, Caleb First now against Dredd on the other end. Great spin move and a slam. Caleb First loves his left jump hook, and you can see Dredd just overplaying that hand and spin baseline. Lawyer, step back three, and he hits it. A good start to the second half for Purdue. He had a big-time second half in Columbus on Thursday. That's a master class for a side out-of-bounds play with 1 second on the clock. Micah Shrewsbury's good at a lot of things, but they say him drawing up out-of-bounds plays is really some of his bread and butter. Caleb First from long range. They have struggled from long range on the season, just over 31%. Regarding them, if Purdue is shooting like they did at Ohio State, it's going to be terrifying. And Fletcher Lawyer, wow. He now has 8, the freshman from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Whoa, Lundy a little ambitious against Sakiti. Knocked out of bounds. Is getting put on the glass. Ethan Morton, by the way, Pennsylvania Mr. Basketball a few years ago, but he played over in Pittsburgh's area as they go up top to Zaki. Here's the ball screen. Funk's got to be in early. Instead, he's in late. Then he's in with Edey. Now he's out because the shooter is there. Now he's got 20, Jalen Pickett. Penn State is so small right now. Hello. There it is again. Braden Smith to Zach Edey. He's on the bench right now. Matt Painter just trying to sneak him a little breather before that under 8 media timeout. Gillis in traffic. Got his own miss. Count and the foul. A weight room bucket for the 230-pound redshirt junior. On the dribble drive, the first one not there. But getting to the offensive glass like Purdue does. And Mason Gillis.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the Matt Painter Show presented by GEMCO, live at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union. Everyone needs a little playing time, so before a Purdue basketball game or any time throughout the week, stop by Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where it's always game day with a taste of Louisiana. I'm Rob Blackman, the head coach of the Boilermakers. Matt Painter's alongside as we go back to the phones, and we welcome Kirian calling in from Fort Wayne. Welcome. You're on with Coach.
Hello, Coach.
Hello.
I was just wondering, so we talked about, guys who, really great guys, the game of basketball. They have a lot of hustle, they have a lot of grit. And that's a lot of guys in high school, but, what separates the men and the boys? Like, what do you like? Is it something you see on the field, or not the field, the court, or is it something you see like when you speak to them or interview them? I was just wondering because it seems like, you know, anyone can grab these sort of loose ball, scrappy guys, but it seems like you just grab the best of them, and I'm kind of interested to see what do you see in them that separates them from the rest of the pack.
Yeah. You know, it's trying to look at somebody and see, like, where they could grow, where they could get better, and do they have the capacity to do so. But having a nose for the basketball, kind of that uncanny, I'm not saying if you like either you have it or you don't, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close. And so, like, you'd say, hey, man, like, you guys have done a good job with Fletcher Lawyer and Braden Smith getting loose balls. They were doing that before they got here. So, like, you're not a miracle worker. So, like, what can you there has to be a baseline of substance in terms of what you can do. Like, the one thing that's going to translate is people who rebound. Like, if you're a guy that gets 14, 15 rebounds in high school, you're going to rebound in college. If you're going to rebound like Zach Edey, if I'm an NBA guy, like, there's some questions about him. He's so big, and the NBA isn't as big anymore. But rebounding is important still in the NBA. And he's proven rebound, you know, per minute, like he's, you know, rebounding the basketball. He's one of the best rebounders in the country, and he goes and gets rebounds. So, like, that's going to translate your ability to shoot. So one of the things I look at when you shoot the basketball, can you move and shoot? So, like, you'll get somebody's percentage, and then you'll say, okay, that's their percentage. And you'll say versus that. But you got to break up their shooting. So sometimes you get step-in threes. The easiest shot to hit's a step-in three. So when you see those transition threes or those inside-outside threes that you get with Zach, those are the easiest ones to make. The hardest ones to make are on the move. Whether we run those triple screens along the baseline, those guys run. Sasha used to make a lot of them. Dakota Mathias, Ryan Klein, Carson Edwards, and the beat goes on, right? Fletch runs. We do them for Fletch. We run them for Brandon Newman. And so, like, we work on that shot for them. So trying to find them in transition, trying to find them in ball screen stuff, trying to find them and then get them and get it figured out. After a while, when you work with somebody and they just are like, they're good overall at shooting, but they're not good at a particular shot. Like, you see a lot of the people that are married to the line now, and they will shot fake, and then they sidestep and shoot a three. That really got driven through the analytics because, obviously, three's better than two. So they're saying that pull-up two is a 40% shot, and they're saying from a good shooter that step, you know, kind of a sidestep three, so to speak, after you shot fake and they go by you, is a 40% shot too from a good shooter. So why not shoot a three versus a two? It kind of infuriates old school people, but when you dive into the analytics and you kind of see it, well, now you're dividing up their three-point percentage. So after you get enough data with guys, now the ones that they shoot well, now really encourage them to shoot more. And then the other ones that they shoot, you know, you really encourage them to put it in the attic and don't do it anymore. But, you know, it's easier said than done. So a lot of things of that nature in evaluation, trying to figure out, like, what's going to translate? Like, are they a good dude? Can they come here and play a role, or can they come here and sit or redshirt and then be able to wait their turn? Like, we have such a microwave society in basketball that if a 19-year-old's not good in college basketball, he stinks. In reality, they're going against 21, 22, in the COVID world, 23, 24-year-olds, and those guys should have a physical advantage and they should have an experience advantage, right? And so, like, we're in a big hurry for what? Like, we should have some patience so you can have a better career and then play for a team. And I think those things are the things that we really look at. They're not the only things that we look at, but being skilled, dribble, pass, and shoot is a big, big thing for us. The love for the game is a big thing. And then probably above all of it, do you want to get your education from Purdue? And if a Purdue education is really important from you, now if things go wrong, are you going to leave and not get your degree from Purdue? Like, that's an important piece because you got to think about, you got to be able to get good players, but then you got to be able to keep them, because if you can't keep them, you can't coach them.
More with the coach when we come back. It's the Matt Painter Show tonight. It's brought to you by GEMCO. We're at Walk-Ons, and this is the Purdue Global Sports Network, and this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Now Foyer, whose brother used to play at Michigan State, now at Davidson, inside that one. Whoa, what a squeeze in by Ethan Morton. Smith inside. There's a big fella. Turner and jam.
And Zed Key backed away immediately and grabbed his shoulder.
Smith, the kick. Morton rising fire, and it rims off the rebound and the stick back.
New Boilermaker, but there are some positives. Zach Edey able to set the screen, get down low, get inside of his defender for another offensive rebound.
Now Thornton almost had his pocket pick, and he does. Smith, great hands, gets it back, rises, and buries it. 41-38. Here's Edey. Double team, jump hook, right hand goes down.
At about 15 feet where he can knock in that jump shot.
Young man from Honolulu, Hawaii, nice catch. Edey inside, left hand off the glass and in. First, quick turn, kicks it out, Jenkins. Big time jump shot. Lawyer. Edey draws a double, Lawyer a three.
Relocated to Fletcher Lawyer right there. That's an easy out and open shot for the young freshman. A big shot for his freshman year, but confident. And that's 4 assists for Zach Edey.
Welcome back to Walk-Ons, everyone. Rob Blackman with head coach Matt Painter. This is the Matt Painter Radio Show. Coach, maybe a quick thought on Nebraska. That is the next opponent, 7 o'clock Friday night at Mackey Arena. We've already played them once. Mid-December, actually early December, Purdue winning in overtime, 65-62. The Huskers gave us all we could handle.
Yeah, very fortunate to win that game, but, you know, Fred's done a great job, and they really play hard and compete. And the thing that they made the most improvements, they brought in a couple of really good pieces to their puzzle, but their defense, they played very hard. They really bottled us up. We got a lot of really good looks. It wasn't our day, you know, obviously shooting the basketball, but it was a real grinder in that game. But he's done a fantastic job, and they got really good balance more than anything. And I think that's the key for us, is that we're really going to have to do a good job of defending them, you know, keeping them off the glass and keeping them out of transition.
One of the few teams that you barely out-rebounded, 46-44. They hung with you on the glass.
Yeah, no question. He's done a very good job of piecing his team together, and you know we have to do a better job rebounding against them on Friday.
Our final segment of the Coach Painter Show brought to you by GEMCO is coming up next. This is the Purdue Global Sports Network, and this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Plays pick and roll. He's making threes. He can post anybody on the floor. He's just a big-time player.
Edey, this patented stats right there.
My goodness. That's the Nerf hoop.
They're on the road. Purdue trails Penn State at the half despite 14-8 from the Big.
Lundy driving inside. Edey says, I don't think so. The other way, Braden Smith. So Penn State up a half dozen. Smith inside, great pass, and Edey knows what to do with it. Seth Lundy has got to be in. He now has 8, the freshman from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Whoa, Lundy a little ambitious against Zach Edey. Knocked out of bounds. Is getting put on the glass. Ethan Morton, by the way, Pennsylvania Mr. Basketball a few years ago, but he played over in Pittsburgh's area as they go up top to Zach.
Here's the ball screen. Funk's got to be in early. Instead, he's in late. Then he's in with Edey. Now he's out because the shooter is there.
That's just a mental mistake throwing that pass. Edey collects. Edey silences the crowd. Now he's got 20, Jalen Pickett. Penn State is so small right now. Hello. There it is again. Braden Smith to Zach Edey. Edey. Oh, Dred got handed the cookie jar there. Shot clock at 3. And a 3 drops down for number 2, Fletcher Lawyer. Penn State looking for one last gasp here. Edey wants the ball. He gets it. And he feeds it to Caleb First. Easy game. Finding his format. Doing everything. A couple of assists to go along with 13 points and 13 rebounds and now 3 blocks.
Welcome back to Walk-Ons. Rob Blackman here, final segment of the Matt Painter Radio Show. Quick reminder, next week you'll find us here on Tuesday night at 6 because Purdue plays a matinee next Monday afternoon in East Lansing, the special MLK Day game. Purdue at Michigan State, 2:30 on Monday afternoon. Remember how much fun that game was last year, the MLK Day game. Purdue at Illinois. Boilermakers winning in overtime over in Champaign. Maybe Purdue can have the same type of outcome this time around, but this time we'll be at Michigan State. Next game on the schedule is 7 o'clock, our Friday night, 7 o'clock against Nebraska. Our pregame show here on the radio network will begin at 6. Also, if you didn't see earlier today, Purdue in the latest Associated Press Top 25 poll is now ranked 3rd in the country. Purdue still in the top 5, ranked number 3 with their 15-1 overall record. Okay, final segment here, final nugget. This is kind of a nugget and a riddle all wrapped into one. So I'm going to challenge you here. And this is compliments, by the way, of Trey Kaufman-Wren, redshirt freshman Trey Kaufman-Wren. Trey informed me, and Wes Scott, our engineer, we were together with him at dinner on Friday night. He informed me that in his high school career, he played varsity basketball as a sophomore, a junior, and a senior. He never lost a postseason game. He or his teammates, as a sophomore, a junior, a senior, never lost a postseason game in high school as a sophomore, junior, or senior. Yet, he only has 2 state championships to his credit. Now, how could that possibly be? Never lost a game as a sophomore in the postseason. Never lost one as a junior, never lost one as a senior. But he has only 2 state championships, he and his teammates, to his credit. How could that possibly be? That is the riddle. And the answer is his sophomore year was cut short because of COVID. Well done, Dave. Mr. Dave in the crowd. I saw him. He looked at me and he said, COVID, he had it. They won the sectional title, did Silver Creek High School, in the COVID year, but never had a chance to play in the regional. So, by the way, Trey just considers himself a 3-time state champion, by the way. He says, I'm a 3-time state champ, and that's probably fair. He probably is, or would have been, had they had a chance of their sophomore season. Big thank you to Braxton Fines. He was our in-studio engineer tonight. And also a huge shout-out to a very special Boilermaker freshman in the crowd, Marin, who's with us tonight, who got a 4.0 in her first semester ever at Purdue. So she's celebrating with us tonight at Walk-Ons. Well done, Marin. Well done. For Wes Scott, I'm Rob Blackman. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you Friday night from Mackey Arena when Purdue hosts Nebraska. Have a great night, everyone. This is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.